G'day there guys, goes literally weeks without putting pants on here. It's your man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the A-hole. Now if you love today's episode, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie and enjoy today's bloody good content. Posted by user ThrowSis and I, titled, Am I the A-hole for having a breakdown after my sister's announcement? So I have been struggling to conceive for the past 9 years. It has been a very brutal journey for me and my husband. We have experienced many disappointments. My sister is also happily married, and they adopted 2 teenagers who are also siblings. I have stopped going to my sister for any emotional support, as her advice has always been, just adopt. I know that she thinks the fact that I want to spend so much money on fertility treatments instead of adopting is stupid. In the past few years, I haven't spoken to my sister because my life revolved around the treatments and I didn't have any time for her negativity. This whole experience has changed a lot of things in my life. Everything is sometimes heartbreaking and I get irrationally emotional. I am pro-choice, and I know that in my brain. But when someone mentions that they had an abortion, I immediately see red. I usually remove myself from the situation, and I feel very bad and guilty for even thinking some awful things about women. Recently, we had a family dinner for our parents' anniversary, and she seemed a little off. My mum kept asking her what happened. At first, she wouldn't tell what happened. After dinner, me, mum, and my sister were sitting in the living room while the guys and kids were outside. My sister was grimacing, and my mum asked her again what happened. She confided that she recently had an oopsie and had to abort. She said that she already had 2 kids and she doesn't want more. I froze. I had always assumed that my sister was also facing problems, which is why she adopted. It felt like a punch to the gut to find out that wasn't the case. Worse, my mother was gushing and telling my sister how proud she was of her and that she was so brave. Something broke in me. I yelled, I screamed, I said some awful things. I said that her family wasn't real and she was an idiot for having an abortion. I told her that the fact that she would have an abortion for them was stupid. I told her that she wasn't even a woman because she couldn't appreciate the joys of pregnancy. I told her that she was going to regret doing this when they turn 18 and forget all about her. I stormed out after that, and after having another breakdown in my own house, I felt guilty and ashamed. I called my sister and my mother the next day and told them I was sorry. Both of them were incredibly pissed at me, especially because the kids overheard me saying that they weren't her real kids. I have been informed that they were going to cut all contact with me. I have apologized and tried to explain my side of things, and they aren't willing to listen. I don't think I should lose my family for a mistake, but I don't know. Am I the a-hole? Gonna go with yeah, this wasn't particularly a mistake. This kind of seemed like it was preventable, and you could have stopped yourself along the way multiple times, as you self-admit that you see red when you hear about abortions. I don't call this one a mistake, I call it a choice that you regret, but in no way was any of this a mistake. You intentionally went out saying these things. Call it like it is, OP. Stop trying to cover up the reality of the situation and take ownership for yourself. I genuinely think with that level of spite that you've shown for this woman, you deserve to be cut off for a while from them, and, apologizing won't fix things. Explaining your side of things will not fix things. The damage is done. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. You don't think you should lose your family over a mistake? I agree. A mistake would be accidentally backing into your sister's car after family dinner. This wasn't that. The hateful crap that came out of your mouth was inexcusable, period. Hi, OP. I was adopted as a baby. People like you made my life miserable from the time I was a small child. Too many people out there seem to think we deserve less or should never get to be a part of a real family, all because of crap completely out of our control. I'm almost 30, and I certainly never forgot about my parents when I turned 18. That is utter nonsense. We wouldn't walk away from the only parents to care about us. Why do you think people like me and your sister's kids deserve to be second class? I get that you're in pain about being unable to conceive, but taking that pain out on someone who did not cause the problem is just huge a-hole behavior, especially the kids. If they had to be adopted at that age, they've likely already been treated horribly. Your pain does not give you any justification to increase theirs. You're the a-hole, and your sister is being a good parent by keeping you away from her kids. Totally. My sister is adopted, and both my mum and I went to her bachelor's and master's graduation ceremony. She went to my law school and grad ceremony. We both take care of my mum, and she calls her mum to this day. We are a family, and we will always be, even after 20 years. Seriously, these kinds of people made my mum and my sister's life hell when she was younger, telling her horrible things. OP, you're the a-hole, and you do deserve to be cut off, at least for a while. You said horrible things, lashed out at people who didn't deserve it, and hurt children who have been through enough already. And the fact you called it a mistake makes it clear that you don't see the weight of your actions. 100% you're the a-hole. Flipping out occasionally can happen to anyone in extreme situations, I guess. But that being said, you went so far outside the norm here, I don't even think this can be called a normal temper tantrum. You went for the kill. You insulted her integrity. You insulted her family. You insulted her kids. There are times that apologies are not enough. This is one of those times. You caused a lot of damage and pain deliberately. You need to do some hard thinking of why you reacted so badly. You may need therapy. You may need a time out from your family because you were not thinking clearly. You may need to cut contact with your teenage relatives because seeing you is going to hurt them for a long time. You do not deserve forgiveness until you take actual effort to better yourself. And even then, it is on their terms and their timeline, not yours. Posted by user Shununeneb2929. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my brother he got exactly what he deserved when he pushed his girlfriend away for being a gold digger? My brother is a very hardworking man, and at 27, he is now very wealthy and doing very well for himself. He's been with this girl for 6 months, and throughout the time we have gotten close because we both like hair, makeup, and shopping. I never knew there was anything wrong with their relationship, except when she texted me last week saying that she would love to hang out, but thinks it'll be inappropriate because her and my brother broke up. I asked her why, and she said she was sick and tired of auditioning to prove she was with him for the right reasons. She went on to say that my brother is paranoid she's after his money, so he would like to test her, like 1, leaving out his bank statements on their bed and getting upset when she picked it up. 2, going out to eat at high-end restaurants he requested and leaving his wallet at home on purpose to make her pay the bill and prove she's not going out with him for money. And 3, never buying her gifts and questioning her when she asks why he doesn't. I was shocked, so I had to hear my brother's perspective. We spoke and he told me everything she said was true and that there was nothing wrong with making sure his girlfriend is with him for the right reasons. He said he left his bank statements on the bed and was peeking through the door to see if she would be curious. And when he saw her pick up the papers, he knew in his gut she was using him for his money. So, he set up the restaurant idea to see if she would get upset at paying for a $500 bill, which she was. I asked him if he thinks her being an elementary school teacher could have contributed to her being upset at a $500 bill at a restaurant he wanted to go to, and he said no. He said the straw that broke was when she asked him why he hasn't bought her a single gift since they started dating, when she bought him a gaming console and new rims for his car, and he knew she was just discreetly asking him to buy her an expensive gift. He confronted her and said he thinks she's with him for his money. So she said, "Let me do us both a favor," and dumped him and blocked him. He's upset about the gold-digging tramp, and when I laughed, he called me an a-hole. He said I would never understand what it's like being a rich man and being used. And I get that concern, but I told him if he thinks any woman will be okay with his tests and auditions, he is delusional as hell. If he doesn't want to be used for his money, he should start dating people as wealthy as him, or leave lower income people alone if he's not going to be genuine in his relationship unless they pass his test. I'm going to go with not the a-hole for this one. I think it's pretty simple. I don't think you were an a-hole to him at all. You were telling him the cold hard truth that she told him, and he is denying that one. I think you may be feeling like an a-hole because he called you one and your actions were very blunt, but that's justifiable behavior. I don't think you can be considered an a-hole for telling it like it is, at least in this context. Maybe other times it would be inappropriate. But I would like to validate your concerns and say, no, you are not the a-hole. You did well here, OP. Screw him, he is delusional. Not the a-hole. Sounds like you told your brother the truth, he sounds immature, and testing a partner never turns out well. He said it's impossible to find a woman as wealthy as him, so he's forced to date middle and lower class women, so he's still gonna continue his tests. I told him he should go to therapy, and he said I'm crazy. Your brother knows that there are things such as prenups, yeah? Also, while I'm by no means wealthy, I do alright for myself, as I am sure is the case for many on here. I will say that if I were invited to be treated at an expensive restaurant and be stuck with a $500 bill as a test, I would be massively arse-blasted and would end the relationship. There's no way I would have paid the bill on a teacher's salary. I would have left his ass right then. He goes after lower to middle class women because he feels like he has an advantage over them. He likes the power. This, seriously. He enjoys feeling superior and making them jump through hoops. Not the a-hole, OP. Also, dump your brother and stay friends with the ex. Agreed. She sounds like a smart person with a good sense of self-worth. Keep her as a friend. As for your brother, OP, I'd say you should give him a blow-up doll for Christmas. That way, he's got a completely compliant woman who he knows for sure isn't after his cash. May they both be very happy together. Bonus, it keeps him from inflicting himself on the dating pool anymore. It's a win-win for everyone. Only a-hole here is the brother. Also, where does she teach that she can afford game consoles, rims, and $500 dinners? Clearly, she is really responsible with her money, something that you'd think the brother would appreciate if he weren't such a shallow arsehat. She told me she dipped into her savings for all that, and not her salary, which is sad because she still has student loans and credit cards she's paying off. Posted by user Winifred Twerkle. Titled, Am I the a-hole for rejecting my boyfriend's engagement ring because he assumed I was taking his name? This happened in July, but the tension has not stopped building. My boyfriend, 36 male, proposed to me, 23 female, at a family function in July. It was his family at his brother's house. A lot of his family were there. His brother and his brother's wife, their kids, my boyfriend's mum, and my boyfriend's sister. They have family get-togethers all the time, so I suspected nothing. Well, near the end of the evening, he proposes in front of everyone. It was super romantic and I said yes. We've been dating for 4 months and I really do want to spend my life with him. The gag. The ring he got me is expensive and gorgeous and fits. However, about 5 minutes after proposing, I noticed the ring was engaged with my first name and his last name. I think rage is the right word. That he just assumed I would take his name, not even a hyphenated, as if I was now his property. I handed him back the ring in front of everyone and told him it was beautiful, but he had no right to assign me his name. I was not to be his property. We would be equal. Why not he take my last name? He took the ring but didn't really say anything. Most of his family kept quiet, but his mum and sister-in-law did try to comfort me and say that he didn't mean anything by it. Things have been weird since. It's like we're not engaged. He's acting like everything is normal, but has not talked about the ring, gotten me a new one, or even announced us as being engaged to his friends. There has been no wedding talk, and I figured the ball was in his court now with the ring, so I've been following his lead. I guess we're not engaged. My brother said I emasculated him in front of his family, and that my whole concern is stupid, and that I'm an a-hole for bringing it up at all, but especially in front of others. I feel like stripping me of my name is a big deal, and a discussion prior would have been the right way to do it. I'm more than happy to take his name if he would just ask. Am I the a-hole? Edits, I did want to add, because I think being safe is important, that the July family get-together was social distanced, and everyone did wear masks. There were about 10 people total. I was gonna say not the a-hole for this one, and then I went back and read some comments and I'm like, wait a second. 4 months. You've been dating for 4 months, and he's already ready to engage and you are too, and then all of this drama happens. I think you both are misjudging the situation, and you obviously don't know each other enough after dating for 4 months. And I think the way you're dealing with it after the fact is, I don't know, indicative of how you guys are gonna handle arguments and disagreements with each other whenever this happens in the future. Just gonna say, I really don't think you guys are right for each other if all of this is happening within the span of 4 months of getting together. I think it would probably be for the best that you guys either communicate more and go to therapy or break up. Everyone sucks here. Everyone sucks here. Dude, 4 months? I've had shirts that I used to wear for longer and said, why the hell was I wearing that? 13-year age gap. No discussion about being married or dealing with this stuff beforehand, plus you have been dating for an incredibly short time. If you were 43 and have experienced a ton of life, maybe already married and divorced, then meh about 4 months. But 23 and 4 months is way too fast. Totally agree, but I think OP sucks. If this man is someone you considered marrying at all, you could have handled the situation better. Throwing a hissy fit about it didn't help anything. You've been together for 4 seconds and never spoke about taking last names. You took a nice gesture and crapped all over it. Could have pulled him aside and talked about the last name thing later. He pulled a surprise proposal in front of his family. Why should he be surprised if she tells the truth about her feelings in the same environment? He put her on the spot, made an executive decision without consulting her, and expected her to accept the situation without question in front of his family. If you pull a surprise proposal in public, putting your partner on the spot, you have to be prepared for a surprise no. The thing is, she said yes, so he must have had an idea that that was going to be the answer. So her going into a rage is not a match for him surprising her, which in her words, she wants to spend the rest of her life with him. A simple talk alone about the name could have resolved it, and having the name on a ring does not make it set in stone by any means. He can get another ring or have it changed if possible. Or, he's a 36-year-old dating someone who is practically a child, so he could expect her to make further bad decisions. There are so many red flags in this post that I have to assume it's made up. If it's true, then you both suck so bad, I can't wrap my head around it. Everyone sucks here. Posted by user NotMyName2020. Titled, Am I the a-hole for calling my grandma by the wrong name until she gets my name right? This has been going on forever, so I decided to do something. I'm 16 male, half Mexican from my dad's side, and my mum's side is Scottish. Not gonna lie, most of my mum's family is high-key racist, and it's been problems sometimes growing up. My grandma on my mum's side never liked my dad and was happy after they divorced when I was 7. My name is Emiliano, and my grandma always complained how hard it is. She tried to change my parents' minds, and it's a shame that I got stuck with it. I'm actually proud of it. My dad told me about the revolutionary I was named after and their history. But literally my entire life, my grandma refuses to say it. She says it's too many symbols. I have a cousin named Alexandria, and they say the whole name. And she always came up with her own names. She says Leo, or once tried to get everyone to call me Elliot as a nickname for a while. Obviously, my mum's family was for it, but my dad refused that because it's not my name. It's always the same thing when I see them. She'll call me Leo or whatever. Even when I correct her, she says it's not a big deal and keeps calling me the wrong name. I told my mum I don't like it, but she always says I'm just not going to change her mind and there's no point in fighting it. So I decided if she's not going to want to call me by my actual name, I'm not going to call her grandma or say her name right. It's stupid, I know, but it's bothering me more that she doesn't care, and all my other cousins, she says their name's fine. No nicknames. Her name is Susan, so I decided to call her Sandy. To be honest, I was scared to say it, but that look on her face was worth it, Lamau. It wasn't surprise Pikachu face, but it was close. She said that it's not how I address her, and that it's grandma. I told her, nah, I'ma call her Sandy from now on, until she says my actual name. It got awkward. My mum was serious, and my grandma got super red in the face. She started ranting about me being a fudging disrespectful child, and this is all my dad influencing me again. My mum told me I need to apologize immediately, but I don't know what gave me the balls to not do it. We ended up leaving their house early, and my mum didn't talk to me until we got home. She says what I did was out of line, and I don't respect my elders ever. She wants me to apologize, and I'm grounded until I do. Haven't talked to my dad yet about this since it just happened, but I wanted to ask if I was being an a-hole, or was it okay for this situation to, quote-unquote, insult my grandmother. I don't know what stick is up her ass, but it's obviously tickling that brain a little bit too much. Think that grandma needs to take a chill pill because it's not as bad as she's making it out to be. I think the way you're going about it is intentionally petty, and I'm living for it. I support your decision here. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. Adults and the elderly don't like it when they're given a dose of their own medicine. Not the a-hole, Emiliano is not a difficult name to pronounce, and your grandma is not respecting you when she's always mispronouncing it, so why should you respect her? It's a two-way street, and you don't owe her respect just because she's your grandmother. Good on you for sticking up for yourself and calling attention to her BS. Like, it literally ain't a hard name to pronounce. None of my friends speak Spanish and say it no problem. As someone who is much closer to your grandma in age than you, I am super proud of you. She has been disrespecting you as a person your whole life by refusing to use your given name. You have shown her how it feels. I don't know how this is going to play out, but kudos to you. If your parents try to discipline you, ask them how you should have approached it. You have asked repeatedly to be called Emiliano, and she has ignored your wishes. What else should you have done? If she calls you by your preferred name, you will call her by hers. It's fair. You have limited tools at your disposal. I think you have been very creative in approaching a difficult situation. As already alluded to, his mum will tell him he should have just ignored it, let it happen, and he needs to apologize. Mum is going to be of no help. Rationalizing won't do anything. Opie, be prepared to either take your punishment as long as necessary if you want to hold firm. If you're going to end up giving in to get ungrounded, you might as well do it. Although I agree with sticking to your guns, your household is not the court of law, and you have few rights in this regard. Why not call her abuela or abuelita? Sort of malicious compliance-like? Not the a-hole, by the way, but I get that you don't want to upset your mum. Posted by user Eat This, Drink This. Titled, Am I the a-hole for yelling at my mum when she made me breakfast before a test? I am fully prepared to be called the a-hole, but please hear me out. Since quarantine started, my mum, 47 female, has had the privilege of working from home. Almost every day she makes me breakfast. At first it was nice, but after a while I told her that I, 18 female, will be moving out soon for university and I'd like to learn to make my own food. At least my own breakfast. I told her that if she really wants to, she can make breakfast over the weekends, but during the weekday I'd like to make it myself. She agreed, and this was back in April and May 2020. Over the months, regardless of me telling her not to make me breakfast, she makes it and brings it to my room. Throughout the months, I've also told her multiple times that I don't like it when she brings food, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, to my room, because it makes my room smell, distracts me from my work, and makes me feel guilty. Every time she brings food to my room, I end up eating it whether I'm hungry or not, just because I don't want her to feel bad. Sometimes when I'm working, she brings up lunch and dinner, and although there are times where I thank her for bringing me food, most of the time I remind her that 1, I want to learn how to remind myself to eat to prepare myself for moving out, and 2, the other reasons I listed above. Despite me reminding her hundreds, I swear I'm not exaggerating, of times to not bring me food, she still does it. This morning, I had an 8 a.m. test for one of my classes. After coming out of the shower, I saw that she had placed breakfast on my desk. My room smelled like food, which created a distracting atmosphere for me to write the test. When I went to pick it up, the knife slipped from the plate, she gave me pancakes, and fell onto the carpet, spreading syrup everywhere. I had 5 minutes before my test started at this point, and I was really frustrated. After quickly cleaning up the mess, I went downstairs and yelled at her, telling her that she needs to understand my boundaries and to keep to her word. She has said multiple times that she will not bring me food, and yet she keeps doing it week after week. I feel bad because it was a thoughtful action, and I love my mum, but I have told her so many times on multiple occasions to stop. Am I the a-hole? It's kind of hard for this one because I would love to have breakfast every day, and I understand that you want to be an individual and move out and progress, and I can't particularly fault you for that. I just think you're not handling this situation well. I feel like there are other peaceful ways to go about this situation, and yelling was not the appropriate way to do it. I think that you took it too far for this one, and I feel like you're the one stabbing yourself in the back here. I don't agree with her continuing to make you breakfast when you've made it clear too many times that she's pushing the boundaries. I think that you guys are both at fault here, so I think everyone sucks here. Update. Last night I apologized to my mum for yelling at her about me dropping my knife. I told her that it was my fault and I shouldn't have gotten upset at her over that specific point. I also explained to her exactly why I didn't like her making me breakfast, most of the reasons I outlined in my comments. She apologized and said that she'd try her best not to continue making me breakfast and let me figure it out on my own at my own time. She also said that she continues to do it because she feels bad when I don't eat right when I wake up. I explained to her how it makes me feel nauseous and sleepy and how that's a bad combination before 8 a.m. lectures. This morning, she made me a heavy breakfast, and take what you want from that. Thank you to all those that provided their opinion. I really appreciate all perspectives. I tried to respond to the most common perspectives as well. Extra info. 1. I didn't mention my struggle with mental health to paint my mum as the villain after I noticed that people were calling me the a-hole. I came here fully prepared to be called an a-hole. I didn't mention my depression or OCD just so people feel bad for me. I mentioned it as a context. I've requested her to change her mindset on mental health, and she hasn't. I thought it was necessary to mention that, as this breakfast request seems a lot smaller in comparison. I'm sorry if it came out as if I wanted her to look like a bad person. She's a lovely mother in many aspects, but she has a hard time to change her mindset on certain things. 2. I don't have any history of eating disorders. 3. I make my own lunch and I help my mum with dinner most days. I also eat dinner with my family. I'd eat lunch with them too, but my mum prefers to eat in her room, so I usually eat lunch alone in between my lectures. 4. I usually don't eat breakfast in the morning, which is why I've asked her not to make it. Whenever I am hungry in the morning, however, I put together something to eat as long as she hasn't already made me food. And 5, I have been enabling my mum because wasting food is a big no in my family. No one else will eat her breakfast since she doesn't eat breakfast, and my dad makes his own early in the morning. Some not eating the food would be considered a waste. I could put it in the fridge to eat as lunch, but that would take away from the wanting to make my own lunch as well. Many of you have been calling me a spoiled, entitled brat. I respect your opinion since I came here fully knowing that I might get stuff like that. However, I do think it's important to note that one situation doesn't define a person. In this particular situation, I may have come out as a spoiled brat, but that doesn't make me one in general. Again, nothing I can do about that one since that's what I came here for. As for my mental health issues, I've been seeing a therapist and trying to work things out with my mum. Thank you to all of you that shared their own stories. I hope you can all get a good, homemade meal soon. Take care. Everyone sucks here. It's understandable why your mum is an a-hole. She's not listening to your wishes. But for you, you tell your mum repeatedly you want to make your own breakfast, but what actions have you taken to do so? You clearly aren't waking up earlier if you're getting out of the shower 5 minutes before a test. You aren't going into the kitchen to prep something, so you're not showing any of your own initiative to make any changes. Maybe if you got up early enough and went into the kitchen with her, she would start seeing a reason to change. Also, you dropping the knife was your own fault. And sure, it's frustrating, but you took out your frustration with the time crunch on your mum. Not cool. Edit. Side note, parents love helping their kids. Sometimes it's really hard to let go of that. She's trying to support you. And I get having overbearing parents, and it's okay to ask for some boundaries as you get older. My parents still come and visit when they fly across the country and try to clean my apartment and do dishes when they're here, and I'm 29. It's just what parents do. Not the a-hole. It may seem like a kind and considerate gesture on the surface, but she is actually putting herself before you. Repeatedly violating a reasonable boundary like this is not acceptable, and it's all about her wanting to feel needed as a mother in some superficial and infantilizing way. This isn't really about helping you, and the fact that it's done under the guise of a kind gesture makes it difficult to call out. There is no reason for you to feel guilty for not eating breakfast that you specifically asked not to have. I would refuse to eat her breakfast from now on until she cuts that crap out. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, I want to do a huge shout out to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. You should be up on the screen now. I love you all, and I think every single one of you are amazing for supporting the channel in the way that you do. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. And again, if you did enjoy today's video, please do tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. All of your hot takes, opinions, whatever you think, really, whatever's going on in your life right now, I'd love to hear down in the comments below. Before I leave, I'd also like to announce that I'm going to start doing meme content again on the second channel. I know it's been a while. So click on the Markee head on the screen without the Australian flag behind him if you want to go see some memes. And as always, guys, have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.